Welcome back. College Football Daily. Dari Noka here, ACC blogger, but she's going to talk about everything here. Heather Dinich. And we're going to just Twitter Friday. So the viewers, have been really, really good, tweeting us at ESPNU, and in many cases, me at ESPN Dari, your Twitter questions for us to answer. So we bring in a new member of our College Football Daily team. Ashley Barnett is her name. She's our social media correspondent. Is that good? Twitter guru, whatever you want to be?
Yeah, that's what you can call me.
Ole Miss Rebel. She's an Ole Miss grad.
Hotty toddy.
What does hotty toddy mean?
That's actually a tough question because no one actually knows where it originated from. It's just Ole Miss.
All right.
It's just Ole Miss.
All right.
Don't feel bad. I'm a Hoosier, and I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Okay.
Hoosier?
It's just Ole Miss. Please don't kill me back home, people.
All right. Yeah, you're going to have to learn hotty toddy. All right, so they've been tweeting you, so let's go. What do we got?
All right, well, our first question comes from Josh. Doesn't a team, example, Notre Dame, Florida State, etc., need at least a couple great years to be considered back?
It's all about, are they back?
Well, from Florida State's perspective, how about before we get to talking about are they back to can they win the ACC title, something they haven't done since 2005. So I think with the Noles, we need to talk baby steps before we talk getting back.
You know what, and I actually like that question. I think when we say back has a lot of meanings. I think back means, in this case, and when it's Notre Dame in particular, back means, and they're a little different than everybody else. We talk about them all the time, whether they're 4-8 or 8-4,
Fair.
and people are sick of hearing it. But now we're talking about them because they appear to be legitimately good, so now we're starting to say they're back. Back just means relevant again nationally. I don't know that you have to have a certain length of time to be back. I don't know. It's just a word. Why are we getting so worked up about it?
Well, because, you know, and Miami fans are very worked up about the word back because they're not there.
They need
yet.
to be worked up about getting to the stadium.
They're backwards right now. But, you know, with Florida State, we're always talking about Florida State, but not because they're back, because they're trying to get there still. And for 6 weeks, they were back. And then they crashed against NC State.
Yeah.
Crash.
Yeah, Barron, our producer, just he's a Wolfpack guy. All right, what else you have?
Next one comes from Dustin. What two teams will play for the ACC championship, and what will the final score be?
All right, you're the ACC blogger.
Well, if you want to know the final score, look at today's ACC predictions because Florida State and Miami are playing, and I think we're going to get a repeat.
Do you?
Because
you think Miami's going to win that division?
Here's why. This is why. This is what I'm thinking. Well, first of all, NC State's going to lose again in the Atlantic Division. They're going to lose to Clemson because they can't beat Clemson and Florida State in the same year. They've proven that. The other thing is that North Carolina is the best team in the Coastal Division, but they're ineligible.
Yes.
So then the runner-up is going to go, and Virginia Tech still has to play Clemson and Florida State. I think Virginia Tech's going to lose this weekend.
And they're at Miami in the head-to-head.
Right, and at Miami. So I think Virginia Tech loses 2 more. That gives them 3 losses with the loss to North Carolina. So I think Miami gets it done.
Really?
I think
Now,
we have a repeat.
I think that makes a lot of sense because before the season, ESPN.com, they asked for our division and division winners, and I sent in North Carolina. But then I got an email back that said, you can't pick North Carolina to win the division because they can't play in the game. So I said, Virginia Tech. But what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Their schedule's difficult. I could see Florida State, Miami as well.
Well, because they already have that loss to North Carolina.
Which should not have happened.
And I think they lose 2 more. I think they lose against Clemson and then again at Florida State.
So we say Florida State. I'm with you. I was going to go Virginia Tech. I really want North Carolina. That's the team.
Hey, it could be Duke
whatever.
at this point. We're talking about the ACC. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
Next question, Ashley.
All right, this one comes from another Dustin. Do you think that South Carolina has enough to beat Florida without Marcus Lattimore?
No.
No.
No?
No.
I'm picking them to beat Florida, but with Marcus Lattimore. Where do you go? They've got 2 guys that are going to play at tailback. One's carried it 27 times this season for 100 yards. One's carried it some 17 times. You need Marcus Lattimore, and he's a threat out of the backfield to catch passes.
And it's to get those tough yards, and when you have 2 defenses like that, you need a guy in the 3rd and short situations, the red zone situations, and I think losing those things, I don't think they'll be able to overcome that, unless maybe, we were talking about this, they play the kind of defense that they did against Georgia.
As opposed to the run defense they played against LSU.
Correct.
No Lattimore, no win, though.
Agreed.
All right.
All right. Andrew asked, if the right Miami team shows up tomorrow, does FSU need to be on the upset alert?
Florida State always needs to be on the upset alert. It already happened. So
is Miami good enough though to beat them?
They should not. On paper, Florida
Right,
State's a
they should not.
much better team, much better defense. They're two totally different places right now. To think that Miami should win this game with a backup quarterback, possibly, and one of the league's worst defenses, I would be shocked. But again, we're talking about the ACC.
There's no way.
Who knows?
There's no way. And for anybody who thinks it's a road game for them, they'll have more fans in the stadium than Miami.
Absolutely. They're talking about the joke on Twitter is that's what the seats are dressing up for as Halloween, Florida State fans. So
The seats are dressing up. I think they are as safe as can be. Even if Ryan Williams comes out and he far exceeds what Stephen Morris is able to give him on a regular basis, and he's been pretty good anyways, I don't see how Miami wins. You're right. Defensively, they are a mess. A mess.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Knox asks, where does Johnny Manziel for Texas A&M stack up in the SEC quarterback hierarchy? He was a backup out of spring ball. Crazy.
I love him. I mean, we talk about him a lot on the show. You know, where is he in SEC quarterbacks? Remember before the year, it was all, there's Tyler Bray, there's Aaron Murray, there's A.J. McCarron. We thought maybe Zach Mettenberger would be there, Tyler Wilson. Look, Tyler Wilson is a non-factor when it comes to the best quarterbacks in the league. Aaron Murray, we saw his offense completely shut down against South Carolina. Mettenberger is a mess. McCarron is very good, very consistent, hasn't thrown an interception yet. But there's no quarterback in this league like Johnny Manziel. Connor Shaw is the closest one, I think.
I love watching Connor Shaw.
They
so
do
tough.
a lot of the same things. But I think Manziel right now, if you want to go Bray they're different. If you want to go an athlete, Shaw and Manziel are 1-2, and I'd put them in either order. You want Bray as the best passing quarterback, Aaron Murray there too, McCarron there too, but Shaw and Manziel to me are just different, and they give different things, and you can't compare them to the other ones.
Well, Manziel, I think to this point has played the best out of all of them. But I also think that his toughest tests are yet to come. And, you know, Chris Lowe was talking about earlier in the show about how he got shut down in the first half against Florida. In the second half, what did he learn about that? I think we'll find out more about him. And I would have McCarron at number 2 right now.
You would, McCarron.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Again, you mentioned the road ahead. They've got LSU, A&M tomorrow as LSU. They still go to Mississippi State, and they still go to Alabama. I mean, we'll see. If they get through this without 3 losses, I think you would consider that a success for Texas A&M, who already, to me, looks like a much better team than I anticipated in the first year in this league.
Great.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Next up.
This one comes from Billy. You're a starting team and get to choose between having Bama's D or Oregon's O. Which one do you take?
Oh, wow. You get Bama's D or Oregon's O. You want this one first?
Well, I was just going to pick whichever one you didn't.
Yeah, I'll take
I don't
either
know.
one, right? I don't know. You know, what everybody says, and they were on me when I had West Virginia playing for a national championship this year, is you can't pick them. They don't have a defense. Defense wins championships, and that's been proven over the years. That said, I suppose I would take Alabama's D and try to recruit to an offense like Oregon has. I think it's easier probably to recruit those types of athletes to come and play offense than it is to consistently get the speed, size guys that Alabama gets on defense. I would start with Alabama's defense, but I'd really be happy with either one.
Yeah, I think it would be much harder to recruit for Alabama's defense, and that's where the SEC has just beaten everybody hands down, is being able to rotate the guys up front like they have on both of the lines. But it'd be fun coaching Oregon's out. Just let them go.
You know, you cover the ACC, and I know that, you know, the Florida States, Miamis, Georgia Techs, really that league, probably 8 or 9 of those teams, I would assume recruit the same kids that the SEC schools get. When you talk to coaches, do you ever talk about how frustrating it is? Ask them how frustrating it is to try to recruit against these SEC schools, and what do they tell you?
Well, when you're talking about Florida State and Clemson, they do it obviously all the time.
Yeah.
I think Georgia Tech is slowly getting blown by Georgia, and I think that's going to happen. It's kind of unfair to throw them in there because of the style offense that they run.
Very true.
But
you could use some defensive players on that side, though, too.
They could certainly use some defensive players on that side. Yes, they could. But I think Florida State and Clemson have held their own. I think it's the rest of the conference that needs to catch up in that regard.
Can't imagine trying to recruit against them. I mean, the Big 12, to some degree, does it, too, although they really hit Texas hard, and we're still waiting to see what the impact of A&M going to the SEC does for those Texas kids that usually would go to Texas or Oklahoma State. Okay?
All right, and this is our last tweet.
It is?
And this one seems to be directed towards you. It comes from Caleb. What does LSU need to do to earn some respect from you? Would a 300-yard passing game do it?
Well, You know, I respect LSU's defense. I see Heather on the show. LSU fans and Kansas State fans think I hate them, which is not true. I don't at all. I think I've been on Mettenberger very, very hard, and I think that that's fair. And I don't respect their passing game. And I have a hard time with that because Steve Cragthorpe, their quarterbacks coach, is a very good friend of mine and has been for a lot of years. But I know he's probably disappointed in this too. I'm disappointed in Zach Mettenberger. I want to see them throw the ball. If Zach Mettenberger is a top half of the quarterback, top half quarterback in the SEC, LSU doesn't lose a game this year. Right? I mean, they have everything else. They clearly have depth at running back. They're able to run the football. Their offensive line creates plenty of holes for the tailbacks. Mettenberger's not necessarily under heat all the time. Give us some consistency there. What would they have to do to get? They have my respect. I'm not knocking LSU that much anymore. They have my respect, but I would like to see them be able to throw the ball better.
Well, I also think that they're just not, I don't think they're as dominant as they were a year ago, and I think they showed that in some of the way that they've played in some of the early season games. It hasn't, they don't have the wow factor this year. I think they beat South Carolina. It's Oregon to me. It's Alabama. Notre Dame,
When you watch Oregon last night? Uh-huh. Oh my gosh. I would not put them ahead of Alabama right now.
No.
But every time I watch Oregon, they just make me think about it. I mean, aren't they unbelievable to watch?
They are.
They are unbelievable. Their offense is, I said earlier, they could have hung 90 on them if they wanted to.
Well, and we're talking about Oregon's defense. I mean, I thought in the first quarter last night they had an interception. It's not like they don't have any defense. Everybody focuses on the offense.
Everybody focuses on the offense. Deion Jordan's a great defensive player. Nobody talks about him because of that offense. So you're good?
I'm good. That's all we
it?
have
You
today.
have anything? You're good?
I think you answered it all.
I need you to do one favor for us.
What's that?
Research where in the heck Hottie Toddy comes from.
Hottie Toddy, okay.
All right? All right, Ashley, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, is Barron have something?
All right, I got one more.